GBGuns Armory episode 44. And today we're talking about the Grand Power Q100. Q, not K. You notice there's no hammer there, and there's a plug where safety would be. That's because these are striker fired. And for some reason, I guess, to be honest, most Grand Powers kind of got ignored, or most people haven't heard of them. Unless you follow my channel, reviewed 25 of them, love them. The Q100 is a striker fired variant, and it actually had to be updated shortly after initial release. You notice the flat trigger, that's one of the newer models. Those are the ones that you can find if you were to order one today. The earlier ones had a curved trigger that was so light and so short, I was honestly kind of uncomfortable with it. In the update for the Q, these flat trigger ones, they made the trigger a little bit heavier and a little bit longer, and by that, watch this. And this is why this is in my best striker fired trigger guide. Watch this trigger. Let's see if I can make sure I get good light on it for you. When the dingus is gone, you're at the wall. Break. Reset. Break. This gun can be run very, very quickly. Now, one thing that you do need to see is watch the break to total over travel. I'm going to try to go as slow as possible. There's a decent amount of over travel there, and that works for the pull through style of shooting, not shooting off of reset, to keep this gun safe and enable you to slow down and actually apply it as need be. It's an interesting, very technical, very intelligent way of designing a trigger that I think, as of yet, is not appreciated by a lot of regular American shooters. It's odd because the training popularity, the in-mode way of shooting in the US for so long was to prep to the wall, break, hold, and shoot off of reset. That's a way to shoot quickly, that's a way to have great control, to have an easier, lighter, shorter, more predictable shot. However, that also requires great discipline on behalf of the shooter. And I think what happened was the realization that in a high-stress environment, just pulling through and releasing, if you will, maybe not finger off the trigger after the shot, but something close to it, akin to it, was more realistic. Because when you're under stress in self-defense, just nail and then decide if another shot needs to happen makes more sense. Somehow Grand Power was way ahead of the power curve on releasing a excellent striker fired trigger that was meant for that. Now that that's becoming N mode in the US, is the Q100 picking up? I don't think so. I don't think enough people have had a chance to experience that. This is a Mark 12 model. Those that are new to Grand Powers, this is the older generation. The Mark 23s are slowly making their way to the US, which are optics ready, do have enhanced traction on them. So don't panic if you're one of those people who can't shoot without a dot on. There is a solution. It's just in limited supply in the US currently. This is a 4-inch 15-round variant. That's the Q100. There are shorter ones out there. They have not made a long slide striker yet, but spectacular trigger. And those who don't know, part of what makes Grand Powers cool, if you watch that barrel, camera, play with me here. It's rotating, and when I lock the slide to the rear, you notice that the barrel is still in its same alignment. It's because the barrel doesn't tilt, and in the process of doing that, you don't have as much weight shifting in your hand in each shot, and it does, believe it or not, make a difference. Most people find that a Grand Power shoots almost as if it's like half a caliber smaller than whatever you're shooting. So this 9mm kind of shoots like a 380, and that's a rough comparison to make because most people have shot lousy 380s. But if you've shot a locked breech 380, this feels more like a locked breech 380 than it does a 9mm. Super smooth, super comfortable. I did not gravitate to these. simply because I prefer DASA. I love having that double action second strike capability, even better if there's a decocker, because when I draw defensively, I don't mind a little extra trigger weight and length to give my brain and body time to react and decide maybe this shot doesn't need to be taken. Why draw the gun then? It's an easy way to counter that. I'm talking about maybe you're in a crowded area and something's going on, like let's say, God forbid, a mall shooting or a public area shooting. You see the culprit, you feel under threat, so you are not escaping. You draw and get on there, and then a panicked person runs between you and the target. That's a moment where you want to cancel that shot. He can't take it back a bullet once it's fired, so make sure you only send it when it's ready to be sent and the distance between you and the target is clear and safe. Hitting an innocent bystander is a nightmare fear of mine, not just from the causing harm to an innocent that I was trying to save, but also the legal and civil ramifications that come after the shot are a pretty big deal. Does that mean this is a bad gun? No, not at all. Those who want to have a great time at the range, those who like to argue in forums about trigger weights, and competition shooters would probably really enjoy something like this. It's shocking to me, of course, as an advocate of Grand Powers, that after all these years, there's still something that a lot of people hadn't heard of. But these striker-fired ones, we can get a better view of that. Watch this thing again. When the safety's out, we're at the wall. Break. Fast trigger. Really impressive. I think some of the competition-inspired pedigree in Grand Power design shines through in these things. If you'd like to try one, I will pin to the Grand Power pistol guide that I wrote a while back. There's a link in there to find these things. Currently, as of when I'm filming this, they're on one heck of a deal, and that's because they're looking to get rid of this older generation to move in time for the new generation once it gets there. Downfalls to these things, because they're not super common, you may not be able to find a holster from the holster maker that you love. Also, the rear sight is proprietary. The front sight is a CZ75 cut with a, you can see a little hole there, a cross pin to hold it in place. So you can put other CZ75 sights, front sights on these things. However, you may have to file it or cut it with a notch to run that cross pin again, or use Loctite or some type of other adhesive to get the sight to really stay in there. I had one on that I thought was great, and then it flew off. It turns out it needed the pin or something better than just getting wedged in there. The Q100 is the same holster as the K100. That's because the frame stock is the same, the slide cuts are the same, and the magazines are also the same, which means any Grand Power 9mm 15 round magazine will run in this gun. You don't have to search for magazines to one specific model, you need to search for Grand Power magazines to the pattern, which I think is pretty cool. As a reminder, the purpose of this series is to go over stuff that's been out for a while, give you a little more thoughts and feels, since the reviews are where the facts and performance are, and also to hopefully build sort of a Reddit thread on each model of these guns. So look through the series on something that you've got experience in, please, and share your experience with that particular model. I would like for these videos to serve as a community forum where people can discuss stuff that's been out for a while, because this series is not about the latest and greatest brand new thing that no one else has experienced and you just have to take media's word for it. This is a chance to talk about stuff that's been out for a while. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.